Good morning. I'm sitting here in my wonderful little apartment, and I just have such a sense of gratitude and contentment that I just wanted to share with you, my peeps. There's so much I want to say, and yet my mind wanders so much. It's so hard to stay in the concept of what I want to, tell you, what I want to share, because I tend to start talking about one thing and then I think about another and I go back to that area. I'm going to try really, really hard to stay on subject. What is the subject? I like to talk to widows, widowers, because that's where my experience lies currently. I've been through an awful lot. 5 years of watching my life crumble as my husband got more and more, what's the word? Deteriorated. That was a hard thing to watch. My relationship with God crumbled, I hated the very concept of any God, of any belief system. And it was like, if anyone tried to comfort me on my channel and say anything about God or about Jesus, I'd remove it. I just didn't want to hear it. I think the fear, what am I going to do and what's going to happen to me? Now, I know I have 4 children, and of course they would come to my rescue. But when you're in the middle of it, and you know that you're going to be a widow soon, you really feel alone. There's a loneliness and a kind of a dark cloud that covers you. You don't think, oh, I'm going to go and get help from my kids or someone else, especially if widowhood brought you to a place of poverty, or it's about to bring you to a place of poverty, or you're not sure if you're going to be able to maintain the lifestyle you had. I had lost everything during his illness. I saw what was coming, and I knew I had to start doing something before I lost everything. So I had devised my strategy. If he's still sick by this date, I'm going to do this. If he's worse by this date, I'm going to do that. And I literally thought out the next 5 years before they even happened. What would you do if? And then I made sure the if never came to be by acting ahead of time. And I know some viewers have thought that I jumped the gun on a lot of things. And I think the one thing I really, not necessarily so. You see, I was thinking about my little 2018 Toyota Corolla IM. It was the precursor to the hatchback, so I got an excellent price on it. I bought that vehicle for $15,000, but then there were the fees and all the crap. Plus I added a protection plan for the tires and bought the $100,000 bumper to bumper, which really isn't a bumper to bumper. And so I was up to $20,000 that I actually paid for it. And when I sold it 3 years later, I got 18,000 plus all the money back from my warranties. So that was pretty good. Plus I'd gotten like 3 new tires from one of the warranties. And so I basically got my money back and got to use that car for 3 years. And that money came in handy because I had some bills I needed to pay. I had some things I needed to do to the trailer. I just, I was living in a mobile home in a park, 55 park, 55 years old and up. You could live there. That's where I bought a house. I sold my house in Maine before things got too bad, and we lived off of that money, and I invested it in a business, and that tanked very rapidly, so I lost a lot of money. I bought my daughter a car for her college because I knew Dennis and I wanted to do everything we could for her in our power, as we had to sell the house and render her homeless. But she was heading to college, and she's done very well for herself, and now in her own little apartment and doing well, I think a lot about the Bible verse about the sparrows, and that if God cares for the sparrows, how much more does he care about us? And I see that in my life over the years, and especially, particularly, the last 7 years. I'll be a widow 2 years in, July 10th of 2023, this year. The things that have transpired. When he got sick, and I realized a year later, this man's worse, not better. He's not going to recover from this. We're in trouble. I nearly lost my mind. I had to hold it together because I was taking care of him and everything else. But there were head banging against the wall moments, times I just completely crumbled. God, that must have been so hard for him to see me fall apart like that. But I'd pull myself back together, collect my senses, get my wits about me, and then I had to devise my plans, which I did. And I sought them out as I felt they needed to be done. And I have to say, God watched over me even when I was like, I hate you. Even then, he didn't turn away. I know God was there. There's just too many coincidences to think otherwise. I'm sorry. Way too many coincidences. And everything happening in such a timely manner. When I needed to sell that trailer for that price, it was there. And they let me live in it and just pay the regular fee to the office and my own bills. They trusted me that much. And in return for their trust, I left them a lot of my things, so that their life would be easy, because I knew they were struggling. And now their life is good, and she seems quite happy with their decision, the people who bought the trailer, and she's always been very grateful. I remember that the gentleman with her that bought it said, I didn't expect you to leave us all this. He just wanted a bed. But then they bought furniture from me, and for very, very good prices. You can't touch used for what I sold them my furniture for, and I'm glad. I'm glad I blessed them, because in return, I'm being blessed. You can't be afraid, or you shouldn't be afraid of losing. That was something That was hard for me. Oh my gosh, I lost this and I've lost that, and over the years, the things I've lost, and the... What is success, really? Is it the possessions you own? Is it the money you have? Money brings freedom to a great extent, it does. And yeah, I wish I had more money because I'm homesick and I want to go home, and I'm Rachel sick and I want to go to Rachel. She can't come to me because all she does is work. She's in Texas, my oldest daughter, and I desperately want to see her. It'll be 2 years that I haven't seen her. So, but what is success? Success is my daughter's calling me at the same time, and we have a 3-way conversation. And Rachel will say to Bonnie, if you need mom to yourself, just say so. And she'll say, no, I'd like both of your opinions. That's success. Success is being able to give your last dollars to help your children who are in trouble. And success is them succeeding and being able to pay you back. Success is having a roof over your head, running water, electricity, food in the fridge. It may be a humble amount of food, but it's there, and it's edible, and it's nourishing. That there's enough clothes for your back. I remember Dennis, my late husband, always saying, food, clothes, and shelter. All the rest are luxuries. Yes, Denny. And now I have some luxuries as well. I have a lot of luxuries in my life, and that's success. I have new furniture to replace the furniture I gave at bargain prices. Things I love, things that are for me. When I picked out the furnishings for our trailer when we were moving, it was for Dennis. It was for his comfort and his needs. I needed to make sure he had first. The first fruit of everything was his. Even the car I chose, that little Toyota hatchback, it wasn't for me. We had had a Prius on lease. And before that, we had the Camry, which I loved and I wanted to keep. But I had to give one up. And I knew that the Prius was still on lease, and I thought I could fulfill that lease. And I gave up the Camry. But then the Prius, it wasn't long enough when Dennis required a transport wheelchair. So I went out, and after I turned while I still had the Prius lease, always ahead of the game and thinking, I went and I found the Toyota hatchback, also then known as the IM. And I wheeled and dealed until I got that price to rock bottom. And then I bought it in cash from the money we had from the sale of the house in Maine. And then later I would sell that car for cash because that wasn't the car I wanted. I found it very uncomfortable for travel. I'd taken a trip all the way up the September after Dennis died, all the way up to Maine, to Bar Harbor. And I was like, this is the most uncomfortable car I've ever driven long distance. Dennis didn't like the comfort of it in long distance either, but it did what I needed it to do from, 5 to 10 miles to get him to the doctors that I hoped would save his life, but that's not what happened. What is success? What is a good outcome? Well, I have a van now and it's old and it needs work and work and work, and now I think the steering system is going, something just isn't right, and I fixed so many things on it and now I have to fix some more. But I'm dedicated to that crazy little van, my marshmallow. And I'm just going to keep fixing it, and I pray over it, and I pray for it. I say, Lord, I really want to keep this van. I know it's costing me money. Please give me more money so I can fix this van. And I know He will give me more money to fix that van. Just like He's done everything else. I said, please don't let me be homeless. I would see people my age out in the streets pushing their little cart. I knew what it was. Them and their stuff. In a little shopping cart that they had stolen from a grocery store. And that was their whole life in that cart. No car, no home. I said, please, bless that person and please bless me. Don't let me be homeless. Of course I had my children, and they were like, Mom, we're never going to let that happen to you. They're so good to me. I'm so grateful for them. And so I said, hey, remember how you said I could come stay with you? Well, I sold my place and I'm not finding my van. Can I come stay a while? And I did for 8 months. And so God provided there. He let me keep my mind, which I thought I was losing for a while, and stay there and help. I was quite a help to them, and I still am, because I want to be. What is life? What is success? Being around the ones you love. Helping the ones you love, them helping you. Hey, Denny, I need some help here. Would you lift this box for me? Would you bring this into the apartment? Are you available today? Mike and Maggie, hey, I need some gas money. I'm coming back and forth. Could I have that? Give and take. To love and be loved. This is the real stuff of life. And that there are good people that create apartments like this. This organization is a HUD approved, a HUD subsidized organization, but they're a separate organization which I'm not going to mention at this time because I don't want my exact whereabouts known. Because of, unfortunately there's people out there with ill intent. It's a shame, but it's real. So this wonderful organization who cares so much about others, especially seniors, created this wonderful place. And let me come and stay here despite my bad credit. They waived it. And now I get to sit here on my brand new sofa. My chair is my preferred seat. I really love that chair. Staring out my window at the beautiful green trees and the gray sky because it's a rainy day. But I just feel the warmth and safety and joy of it all. I know my beloved Denny isn't here. I have two Dennys, Denny Sr., who's passed away, and Denny Jr., who is my dear son, our oldest, and Dennis's namesake. I just feel a great deal of gratitude for God watching over me, his little sparrow. I know I'm precious to him, and I really appreciate that. Despite my stands with fist, he forgives, he loves, he's so full of compassion, generosity, and grace. And He's given me a lot. And I know He's going to give me a healthy van eventually. And I know I'm going to be able to go up to my beloved New England and see the leaves turn. I can't wait. It just fills my heart with joy every time I think about it. I'm hoping my children can come with me, because there's just nothing like sharing it with someone you love. To say, oh, look at the magnificence of it all. Indeed. I just wanted to share that with you, my peeps. And to you widows and widowers, know you can't have the one you love. And if you can't be with the one you love, love the ones you're with. And hold them precious to your heart. And just loving and being loved, that's success. That's my story today, and I'm sticking to it. I hope you find something to really be joyous about. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. God will watch over you no matter what, even when you don't want Him to. Defiant or not, He's there. And He knows you're always going to come back. Have the best day ever, and don't forget to pray for those in our group who are going through things. And thank you for that. Bye.